Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to the anime review. Today we look at episode 7 of Made in Abyss. Now, Ozen, Ozen I thought was a cool character when we first were introduced to her. And, I'm like, oh, she's such a badass character, etc. Now I just think she's messed up in the head, and for various reasons. I mean, we learn a lot more about her, obviously, this week's episode. We also learn about the Abyss in general, some of the effects that can have as you get to the 4th floor, which apparently, once you're there, it apparently starts messing with your mind even more as time goes by. It even affects your skin. It affects various things about your body in general. And we saw that when she was fighting with Reg, because obviously they did get into a fight in this episode. Her skin is like this weird amalgamation of beings and things on it. It's actually kind of unnerving. It's like chills down my spine to look at it. It kind of gave me goosebumps to look at it, to be honest with you. But because it almost looked like kind of eyes and stuff. It's not really eyes, but it was just like these weird patterns on her arms. But we learned that that's something that she actually did to her arms, because apparently her skin was all messed up after being so exposed to the 4th floor for so long. And apparently even goes beyond that. Like her hair or her skin in general is just all messed up. That's why she always wears like a very heavy coat, it looks like. But we also learn a little bit more about Riko, in the sense that she was one time thrown into that weird cube thing we saw, and that is what held her. I know people told me last week's episode, and I didn't even realize it, but she was in that cube. But we learned what the effects of the cube are, essentially, in a way where it makes things change, it alters them, and gives them life. Perfect example is that the thing that Riko saw in her, or she thought she saw, she really did see. It was this weird thing that was crawling on the floor. If you guys remember an episode, I think it was 6, but she didn't know what it was, and that was actually a piece of meat that Ozen threw into the cube, and it came out as a being that was like this walking being originally, and then apparently what was left of it that Riko saw was actually something that was dying, because apparently it doesn't have that long. So she thinks that Riko in general may not have a long lifespan either, because she was put into the cube, but she's not 100% sure. But this is what caused Reg and her to fight, because Reg didn't like the way she was treating Riko, and even more so, we see that apparently she didn't want Reg to be alive in the first place. Even though she says that's a joke, I almost think that there's something more to that Reg is a being that really shouldn't exist in the world, and I'm very curious what we're going to hear about that later on. But what ends essentially this week's episode, besides seeing a little bit more about Riko's mother in the form of being mentored by Ozen at one time, we also have them being trained by Ozen by having them being thrown into like a survival course for 3 weeks. And it'll be how essentially Reg has to keep her alive in this tunnel that has apparently dangerous beasts and stuff like that. But he can't use his certain powers, because we also learned that apparently when he uses those energy things, he passes out for several hours. And that's the reason why so far we've seen him pass out a few times after using them. It's from that. So if he uses that, he'll leave her alone, essentially, no matter how much they try to wake him up. And that could be dangerous for Riko, obviously. But this was a great freaking episode of this show. Like, honest to God, solid episode, really. It kind of makes the show almost to me like being the show of the season. And I'm looking forward to what else the show has to throw at us. As always, guys and girls, I would love to hear your comments. Tell me in the comments below. Please keep spoilers to a minimum. You could say like certain things, but don't spoil big chunks of information. I appreciate so far no one's done that. I've heard other reviewers have been spoiled for a lot of things, but luckily you guys aren't like that. As always, guys and girls, if you like my reviews, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, check out my Patreon for rewards and stuff. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great, blessed day. I'll have 18F episode 7, I believe, also should be up probably in like 20 to 30 minutes after this goes up. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye bye, everyone.